Us in the pledge, we'll get opened up for today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I will take a motion to go into exec.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Just for the benefit of the committee, we're going to have to, and those watching, we're going to have to recess at 9:15. Senator McGue and I have to run up to the chamber and do a quick presentation, so I estimate we'll probably be 15 or 20-minute break. So today we are going to exec most everything, I guess, and maybe everything. Who knows? See how it goes. I'm going to get on the right sheet, though, where all my notes are. You do have testimony on House Bill 780. If you recall, that is the bill that we had no one show up to testify for. The prime sponsor came to me afterwards. He was very apologetic. He did not receive a notice on it. And we had no one. So I asked him to provide testimony so you could at least understand what his perspective of the bill. So during the break, if you want to review that, we'll take it up afterwards.
Okay, great. No,
All right.
The second.
Yes, and then we had no one signed in, so he was very upset, and I said, it's okay, things happen sometimes. I would say let's follow the sheet, and we'll just work our way through. So House Bill 82, I have an amendment to present, which should be on your desk. Hopefully, if I've done my job and gotten them all to Kevin, then he has all the ones out here I sent him. The question is, did I get them all to him? So, we will see. Thank you, Kevin. Yeoman's work on that.
C amendment. Here we go.
All right, so you have an amendment on your desk. You should have for House Bill 82. I will
After section 38.
I will move on to pass. And I would like to offer Amendment 1821S. And for a little background on this, this was a bill that I was holding. It's mostly a cleanup bill, but the electricians had some concern with a part of the chapter as it dealt with having subcommittees. So Simon Thompson had approached me with it, and I had asked him to work with OPLC, and they did, and they came up with this language that all could live with, so I am presenting that to you to amend the bill.
So I'll pass on the amendment.
Wait,
Yeah, we got not to pass, and I've moved this amendment 1821.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
That's
looking
okay.
at this, and then I was looking at auctioneers. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, it's the next one. Got it. Okay.
Any discussion on the amendment? Any questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then I've moved on to pass as amended.
Second?
Seconded by Senator McGue. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Consent has been moved, and I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll take this one out since I did work on that one. All right, next would be 118. And I also have an amendment for 118.
And
1872.
oh,
That's the
1870.
1872.
My concern was the commission on the debt, and it looks like this solves that.
Yep.
But it's not. Thank you very much. What's on my note?
Yes, I removed the deaf and hard of hearing board from the repeal because there was a commitment to get that going again.
Representative Woods.
Yes, and then Senator Rosenwald had approached me online of the amendment. Actually, let me move on to
Yeah.
pass. And then I'm going to move amendment 1872. Do we have a second on that?
second.
All right, second. So if you look also on line 11,
Of the amendment.
yes, of the amendment, dealing with the Rare Disease Advisory Council, Senator Rosenwald had excuse me, had approached me and asked me to make a change there because of the terms of office on the Rare Disease Advisory Council, and it was problematic to get membership. And so we're just striking that they can't, we're essentially taking the term limit off it, allowing them to stay on. And the other change in the amendment is, as we discussed, the deaf and hard of hearing council, commission, I'm sorry, I forget what it is, because I removed it, I can't find it. Yes, so we're removing the repeal so that the council will remain intact.
Deaf and hard of hearing is correct, yeah.
Yes.
From previously line 27, it's back.
Yes, it will remain intact. Senator Altshuler?
Yes, so, are we all set with deaf and hard of hearing?
Yeah.
Like everybody's
Yes.
good? Okay, because I have a question independent of that.
Sure, okay.
Okay, so the line, since we're on the amendment, line 20, the Housing Champion Program Advisory Committee, they've just been formed.
Okay,
Can we keep them in place since Housing Champions is only yeah, just,
Made one set of awards.
it's only made one set of awards, yeah. And we,
I did not have any notes on that, to be honest with you, that one didn't even
personal
stand out
notes.
to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
if we could leave them in place and let them do, even,
What's
we
the
don't know
sense of
how
the
much they're gonna
committee?
get in the budget, so
Right.
they may not have any awards to give, however, they exist, they're not being zeroed out,
Right.
and it's a brand-new program.
I'm not opposed to it.
I have no objection to a committee
Great.
amendment to do
All
that.
right,
All
then,
right.
so we'll make a committee amendment based on 1872. And, I'm sorry, what line
Based
was
on
that again?
18, yeah, on the,
Line
on
20?
amendment 1872 to
Line 20.
delete line 20.
So Kevin, we'll be deleting line 20 off from amendment 1872, and that will be our committee.
Then I think we have to renumber after that.
We'll let them do that.
Yeah, okay.
That make sense?
Does the-
All right, any further discussion on the amendment?
Second.
Oh, sorry. Senator Altshuler moved, Senator Reardon seconds. Further discussion on the committee amendment. Everybody's clear, it's based on 1872, removing line 20. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Any opposed? Senator Altshuler, you want to move OTPA?
I move OTPA.
And I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move consent.
Consent is moved
Second.
and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
all right.
Senator Altshuler, would you like to take this one up?
Got it.
That's 118.
TPA. All right. Zero.
On my notes here.
Okay. You have 2 minutes.
42. We can
Just
probably do this
FYI.
one real quick. 18. So 142 is the gold, if this isn't gonna be quick, it's the Gold Star flag. I have an amendment for that.
So,
Did that not get to you, Kevin?
Hang on.
56.
it's not in my
All right,
folder.
tell you what we're gonna do then. I have the amendment right here. Let's just recess. I'll have copies of this made, and I must have forgot to send one. So, we're gonna recess exec session till we return, which my best guess is sometime between 9:30 and 9:40. Okay?
Okay.
We'll be back, and in the interim, we'll get you that amendment. So we will be in recess until at least 9:30. recess and resume our exec session. We are on House Bill 142. You should have all received the amendment now.
1670?
I think so.
142, 1670, microphones.
Microphones. Sorry, now I can't find my copy of the amendment. There we go. Nope, that's the wrong one. All right, let me have that back, please. I don't know where mine is. There are too many papers. All right, so, do we have a motion on 142? All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, and then I want to offer amendment 1670. So there was a lot of discussion on this bill, if you recall, when we heard it. And there's a lot of emotion around it. And I've worked with the prime sponsor, Representative Moffett, over the last couple of weeks and 3 weeks. It's probably been a month, actually, now that I think about it. And we came to the agreement that if we just took out of the original bill, essentially lines 9 through 12, and about the honor and remember flag being created by a national organization, it's a, in the national symbol part, if we took that out and we essentially made the last Sunday in September Gold Star Mothers and Families Day, and then it skips down and the governor shall order the honor and remember flag to be displayed daily at the New Hampshire State Veterans Cemetery in Boscawen in the most junior order of precedence. So it takes out the State House portion, and it takes out the making it the New Hampshire symbol, and it still gives them some some recognition. And Representative Moffett was fine with that, felt it was a reasonable compromise. So that's essentially what this amendment does. Changes paragraph 2 to
Completely.
down, and it
Yeah,
removes
okay.
that, please.
Removes all of,
It removes
Two.
everything from 9 to 12 on the original bill and the words "and at the State House" on line 14 of the original bill.
got it.
Do we, so I've moved the amendment. I don't know, did anybody second? We have a second on the amendment, all right. Do we have any discussion on the overall amendment and the concept approach to the bill?
No, I think it's a
we
great
just did.
solution.
Okay.
Thank you for working it out. We're all happy with the renaming of the day, Gold Star Mothers and Families Day, instead of the more concise Gold Star Family Day. I think we heard some testimony on either. What's the will?
Yeah, I felt it was important to leave, as the sponsor had requested, to certainly recognize those mothers and add the families to it. All right, with that, we'll vote on the amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'll move on to pass as amended.
So-
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll take this one out, I guess. Okay. 42. $156 will be our next one. And you'll find there's an amendment to that one as well. So I'll move out to pass. And then I will offer amendment 1792. Do you all have copies? Because it looks like I had several in here. I must have printed them. All right. So as I looked at this, we heard testimony about keeping the advisory committee on state procurement. And so I went back and spoke with Senator Carson, who has served on that committee, and she admits they have not met in 3 or 4 years, but there are times that it's important to have that committee there. So essentially, what I did is I tried to blend the two and make the duties of the current procurement committee to cover the duties of what the House had asked for in the advisory committee for relating to agriculture. I couldn't find a way to blend the two. It did not work well. It just, you had the wrong expertise on the committee, and so I reached out to Charlie Allinghouse, who directs DAS, and had a conversation with him. He and I talked it through, and he felt the best thing to do was just to have another procurement committee, advisory committee. And so that's essentially what I did, is I made it its own committee, but I'm having it send a report to the current procurement committee, so that they're sort of advising the current procurement committee on things that would be good, as well as the, the normal Senate President, House Clerk, Senate Clerk, Governor, and then the chair of the advisory committee, so that the other procurement committee will have the recommendations or findings of this procurement committee as it's looking at the statewide overall, not just specifically at agriculture. So that's what this amendment does. Any questions? All right. Seeing none, we'll vote on the amendment 1792. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll move on to pass as amended. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Second.
All in favor of consent?
Aye.
I guess I probably better take this one off
That's
too.
a pearl. I already had your name
I-
halfway
I
written.
bet you did.
Yeah, like, yeah. He with the biggest explanation gets
Yes,
the report.
well, I'll streamline for Kevin, he can just send them all to me. Okay, 233. This, House Bill 233, this is the one about making the recordings of the Vaccine Association. So I reached out to Pat Miller, who is the chair of the Vaccine Association. I had a conversation with him, and he has agreed to do what this bill asks willingly without the legislature prompting them to, which avoids us running into 91A issues that potentially were there. So what I told him I would do is I would ask the committee to re-refer this bill. I also spoke with Representative Comtois, who is the bill sponsor, and she was fine with this. I told him I would ask the committee to re-refer the bill, we would hold it, and we would keep an eye to make sure that they actually did what they promised they would do. And so as long as they do, I'm gonna ask the committee to allow us to re-refer this bill and hold it, and if we find, as we get into the fall, their next meeting isn't until June. If we find that they're not living up to what the agreement is, then we'll bring this bill back and maybe look at it again. So if that seems reasonable to the committee?
It's reasonable. Can we have the committee report, presuming it goes on consent, reflect that?
Yes. I will, if you'd like, I will take this one, or whoever wants to, but I don't care. But Kevin, let's get those remarks into the
I'll get a P
Committee
and an
report.
E already down here. Just let me finish it.
all right, so I'm gonna move re-refer.
Second.
Oh,
Further
done.
discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Move consent.
Do a second? All in favor of consent?
Aye.
And I will take this one out as well, Kevin, and please make sure that those comments are in the committee report.
Clairvoyant.
So we can keep this one to use as a teaching tool sometimes for new reps, that sometimes getting a task accomplished isn't always about passing a bill. Sometimes it's just about introducing one if you need to. All right, House Bill 428 is next. This one, I've done a lot, you'll find an amendment on this one as well. I believe this is my last amendment. That would be 1869S. So we had two bills that sort of did the same thing. House Bill 428 and Senate Bill 94. They kind of did the same thing. So I undertook the task of merging the two. And I worked with Representative McGuire, Phil Sherman from the Building Code Review Board, and Commissioner Toomey. And we've had a significant amount of back and forth as well as at least 2 or 3 drafts from OLS to get the language correct. There's still one little piece missing. And so what I'm gonna ask is we consider this as the base with a slight change, make it a committee amendment. On page 3, line 4, included in the state building code provided they are not, and I want to add the words more or in front of less, so that they are not more or less stringent than the state building code. That was a typo that we missed. I thank you to Matt for catching that.
And that makes sense if we're looking for uniformity.
Yes.
Building codes.
So I will move ought to pass on 428,
Second.
and I'm going to move amendment 1869.
Second.
And then I'm going to ask the committee to consider turning this into a committee amendment with that change on line 4. So this will be 1869 is the base, with the committee amendment adding the words more or. Do you,
Page 3.
Kevin,
line
do you
4.
have that? Line 4, page 3. So it would lead, provided they are not more or less stringent. Discussion from the committee on the committee amendment. All right, hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, the amendment passes 4-1. I'll move on to pass as amended with the committee amendment. Have a second from Senator Reardon. Discussion from the committee. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, do we want consent? 5-0.
No, it was 4-1.
Oh, did you go, I'm sorry, I thought
Yeah.
you voted, my apologies.
No worries.
Let's do the vote again, please. All
But
in
you can do
favor?
consent.
Aye. Opposed?
No,
All right, my mistake.
No
So
worries.
passes 4-1. I apologize.
no.
And move consent? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll take this one out too. You already wrote it down, didn't you? Okay. 598 is next. I don't have any amendments on this one. I know you're all shocked. Give me 1 minute to get there. I'm still trying to focus here. 598. Senator Reardon would like to move this. Just bear with me a second. I have to get open. I'm trying to remember. I apologize. I just need a minute to review here. All right, Senator Reardon has moved ITL. Do we have a second? on that?
Second.
I'm trying to remember.
So
Senator,
the prime, oh, yeah, go ahead.
please do.
I think this is a wonderful idea to look at data sources that the state of New Hampshire has and collect them to see what agency could benefit from the use of others. Representative McGuire had stated that there's a lot of data nerds in the legislature. There are people that could work on this, but I think, and that sounds like that's a fun project too. That's a great idea. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think we necessarily rely on legislators to do a change in process of the state. And I think when I look at what the requirements would be, this would put a big burden on state agencies to actually inform the legislators of what they have, how they collect it, what the sources of it are, and to think of the number of different programs that's in is, I think, something that if the state is interested in doing it, they would RFP out to a contractor or a consultant that could not only gauge what we have as a professional, somebody with a liability for doing the work and doing the work completely, and then think about whether the state is interested in implementing that. To have some legislators that have some expertise in data analysis doesn't seem to be moving the needle at all on what the actual goal of this is.
I'm actually surprised this bill does not have an FN.
Yeah, I'll add that I had a co-sponsored bill with a representative in the House that was looking to make a policy change within structures within the Department of Justice. And there was a data set, or 2 data sets that were needed, and the DOJ did not have the capacity to collect all that data because a not insignificant amount of it is not digitized yet. And so, you know, that got put on hold, and this year actually put in a request for a $30,000 part-timer to go get all that data so that we could move forward. So in that same vein, this, you know, it does cost money to ask the state agency to compile this data that we, you know, would like to have.
I don't have a big feeling one way or the other on this bill personally. What do you guys think?
Fine with the ITL.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Right?
Any opposed? Consent? Do we, moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
I think Senator Reardon would like this one.
Oh, I gotta cross out the PE. Okay.
It's easy to make a PE into a
I just did, yeah. Just did.
All right. House Bill 634, Senator Reardon has an amendment. Senator Reardon, would you like to make a motion on this bill?
move amendment,
We've got to move the bill first.
House Bill 634.
And
Wanna make a
I'll second. And you want to move your amendment?
Amendment 1658, yes.
I'll second for discussion. Please explain to us.
We heard a lot of testimony and conflicting testimony. Well, first of all, this was a repeal of the New Hampshire Council on Autism Spectrum Disorders. And I think the reason that this group hadn't met, which was the reason to repeal it, is they have a lot of bugs to work out. And probably the most prominent of that is that meetings are required to be held in person. There's family members and family members of people with autism and people with autism as members of this. And it is difficult for them to go out to nighttime meetings if they in fact drive at all or get childcare or adult care for somebody that they have to leave behind while they go to the meetings. I talked to a lot of parents who have been involved with this and have opinions about this committee and how it could work better and meet the needs of neurodivergent people in New Hampshire. And I think it is premature to just throw the committee out. I would prefer to retain the committee, give them the ability to meet virtually, which is what this demographic needs, and give them another shot at organizing themselves and making it so that they can actually function and get something done.
Senator, have you checked on the 91A requirement for in-person or hybrid meetings? I'm not certain that 1/3 meets the 91A requirement.
50% in one
Yeah,
location.
so
I think it's 50%.
It's 50% in one location.
Can we legislate around that?
No.
I don't think I'm ready to do that. Would you be willing to make a friendly amendment to this to make it line 21 that they have to have 50%? I believe you need,
absolutely.
I believe you need to meet 91A.
Okay. Line,
21,
Line 21.
page 2, 21.
got it.
Yeah, I'm concerned that that is in conflict with it.
So 1/2.
Do you remember the exact language of 91A?
I'm thinking about it.
So is it, I don't think you have to have half of the membership, but you do have to have half of the
Quorum.
the
Active
people
quorum.
present,
Maybe it's half of the quorum. Maybe.
half of the, so, yeah, they should,
I think it's 50%
because we
of
ran
the
into this
quorum,
with a
maybe.
couple other,
Yes, and they have
Groups
to
that they
vote to let
couldn't
people
get.
in on by Zoom to the meeting. The other board members. if
How
I
many
recall
total on this?
Mm.
A lot.
if it's a blanket,
I'm not sure they have to vote, but each person has to identify themselves,
I-
say if they're
yeah.
by themselves, where they are, why they can't attend in person.
Seems like I recall that they had to be in the room to allow the folks who were participating remotely, like we do. in
the
Senate.
in-person people,
Yes.
yes,
I
yes,
think
okay.
So,
That's just a technical issue, not a,
so it's half plus one member, is what this says. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11,
How about if
12,
we,
13,
how about if we say the,
14, 15, 16, 17.
At least one half of the
18,
quorum.
21,
we take
22.
out the at least 1/3 and we say the
23,
in-person
24.
requirement will meet 91A?
Yeah.
So it's
That's
24.
the safest thing to do, right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
How about if we do that? So on line 21, we take out the last sentence, at least 1/3, we remove that and say the in-person, you're better wordsmithing than I am, you guys are. The meetings will comply with 91A.
Yes.
For hybrid meeting requirements.
Is there?
So Kevin, what are we telling Kevin? That
So,
Hybrid meetings will comply with 91A. They may have meetings where
Okay.
everybody's there, but it's an option.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you guys?
meetings shall comply with 91A.
Hybrid meetings shall
Shall.
comply.
I'm gonna look up what it says. So I'm not sure.
That's all right, but this will make sure that we're complying with it.
Whatever it says.
And I will
Thank
say,
you, yes.
if you find there's some egregious problem, we can always bring a floor amendment if we have to, but I think that will work. So Kevin, this will be a committee amendment using the 1658 as the base. On page 2, line 21, we'll strike the last sentence, that begins with at least 1/3, and replace it with hybrid meetings shall comply with 91A requirements. Does that work for everybody?
Yes, thank you.
Any further discussion on the amendment? This will be a committee amendment. All right, hearing none, we will,
It's 91-A:2, and I think it is 1/3, actually.
is it? Well-
But if we just say 91,
If you say it complies, then
You
they
got
have
it.
to do
Then we got it. That's right.
91A:2. 91-A:2.
91A:2.
But we wanted to
Yeah, just
comply with
comply.
All of 91.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll
Right,
do
so
it.
just say 91.
Okay. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye. Oh,
I think, okay, I thought we did, I'm sorry. Senator Reard moves the committee amendment, I will second. You're right, we moved the other amendment. Thank you, Kevin. All in favor of the committee amendment?
Aye.
Any opposed?
move
Senator
on to
Reardon.
pass as amended.
Senator Reard moves on to pass as amended. I will second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
aye.
Right.
Any opposed?
Consent?
Consent has been moved. All in favor? Aye.
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 Senator Reardon would love to take this one out. I know she
The
would.
words right out of my mouth.
Clairvoyant. Do we do this one?
All right, next would be the last bill we have, which is, the one you, what is it?
780.
780. So I provided you with testimony from the prime sponsor. Hopefully that explains what his intent with the bill.
Move on to pass.
The motion ought to pass. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Gannon. Discussion from the committee.
Good.
Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed?
Move consent?
Consent has been moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Senator Gannon, would you like this one?
It was an enthusiastic second to that motion. so,
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's spread the wealth a little bit. Kevin, by my records, that's all of our bills. Do you concur?
There should be confetti or something that flies up.
Is this really it?
I believe that is all of our bills.
Hot Dan is up.
Any other business to come before the committee before we come out of exec? I'll entertain a motion. Move to come out of exec? I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Well, we made it. Thank you all. I appreciate it. And we got through a pretty heavy slate of bills and did a very efficient job of doing that. So thank you all, and you won't have to put up with me scheduling you for Wednesday mornings.
Wednesday morning just opened up.
Yes, very much,
Thank
both
you.
of you. You did a tremendous job, Kevin. I move at a fast pace, and I appreciate you keeping up with me. If you, as you get through these, if anything you need, you know, get the blurbs out. Did I see one already?
I know, did you do this while we were in recess? Where did this
Yes,
come
I have
from?
one already.
I'm like, how did this, amazing, okay.
And with
Yeah,
that,
we're moving fast.
I will let you go. Thank you all. We are done.